guys, welcome back to the Cult Classic Kids Show, and today we have to talk about Final Fantasy 16. Now, personally, I have said many a times to my friends, I believe on live streams and all that Final Fantasy 16 is my most anticipated game of the year and potentially even the generation. I think that Final Fantasy 16, from all the things we've seen, the gameplay, the visuals, just the story, this M-rated Final Fantasy, all the stuff that we've seen, the insane, just everything. That game looks like an epic. Like, it really does. I really think that this is the game that I'm going to feel like, finally, after all these years, 3 years into this current generation, this is the game that I think is going to make me feel like, oh, this is what I got a PS5 for, why I upgraded to next gen and adapted next gen for that game in particular. And if you guys don't know, well, Final Fantasy 16 is exclusive to the PS5, at least for the foreseeable future. So you have to understand that within, the Xbox gaming community, I'm sure that they're coping and seething with this as time goes on. And we have one kid Smooth that I think he watched this video. All I could do is try and understand. But I think he watched this video here. See, now, not obviously the best quality. It is a Twitter video after all, but I think you guys could see the true grandiose that is the world of Final Fantasy 16. My best guess is that Kid Smooth saw this and instantly thought to himself, damn, we're not getting this game on the Xbox Series console. And so Kid Smooth did the poor decision making and took to Twitter to cope, and he said, Final Fantasy 16 being overhyped solely because it's an exclusive. Nobody capped for Final Fantasy 15 that much, and at the time of its release, easily the best looking at that time. Now, look, man, I don't have a problem with Kid Smooth. I actually root for the underdogs, and being, a resident Xbot, he's been an underdog for a really, really long time. Across over one generation, to be exact. So, I'm a bit of a fan of the underdog. Kid Smooth, he's definitely suffered the most in the gaming community, I think. And, some of it's kind of unwarranted, and sometimes I feel as though his love of gaming has waned because he is that Xbox guy. But, man, this take right here, I don't understand. I don't understand, besides just the reality you're upset that you're not getting the game on your preferred platform. Kid Smooth is probably going to play it on PS5 and love it. I don't know if he's into that at all. But look, man, Final Fantasy 16, there's so many reasons to be hyped for it, besides the reality that it is indeed a PS5 exclusive. And look, I've been marked as, the PC person. I'm a PC gamer. I'm a PC fan or whatever have you. That's what I've been marked as in the community. So, technically I'm not even supposed to be hyped for Final Fantasy 16 because I'm a PC person. At least that's, what I'm assuming by these fanboys out here. But look, man, Final Fantasy 15 People were hyped for that as well. This is Final Fantasy that we're talking about here. This isn't some rinky-dink RPG franchise. It isn't one of the AA, RPG games that Square Enix has released in the past. This is Final Fantasy 16. This is being, this has Yoshi P behind it. And Yoshi P, mind you, for anyone that doesn't know, is basically the dude that took over Final Fantasy 14 when it bombed. He said, yeah, we're gonna redo this, and eventually made Final Fantasy 14 one of, if not the greatest MMORPG ever thus far. I genuinely believe that, given how strong that game has continued to go. And that game was at the lowest point in gaming. So Yoshi P's that guy. And on top of it all, we have the battle director, or the combat director, I should say, of Devil May Cry 5. Devil May Cry 5 has some of the best combat, period. So we have grandiose, respectable people working on Final Fantasy 16, and it shows in the product every time you see this game. From a story perspective, a gameplay perspective, it all looks epic. There's a reason that people are hyped for Final Fantasy 16, and to be honest with you, I think people should be more hyped than what they are for Final Fantasy 16, because this game looks like true greatness, man. And for Kid Smooth to even compare Final Fantasy 16 to Final Fantasy 15, that inferior pile of shit. This game right here that I copped day one, and I heard that this game became a good game eventually, but I got the day one edition, which is, you're an asshole for buying this version of the game edition. Basically, Square Enix fucking played me with this piece of shit right here. And like I said, I think it became a good game, or so I heard it became a good game. But if you got this version of the game, you were treated like shit. You were blatantly disrespected by Square. That's literally how I feel. So let's be real now. Square Enix isn't a perfect developer by any means. They've certainly made some errors, and I think Final Fantasy 16 was one of their biggest. They had Luminous working on Final Fantasy 15, and honestly, they weren't up for the task. And that's why Luminous is being dismantled and being reabsorbed into Square. Because they just aren't a true AAA development team. They were clearly missing something. They didn't have what it took. They had 2 AAA titles to try and make actually, great. And Final Fantasy 15 as well as Forspoken weren't it. They ain't it. They weren't good. It's just unfortunate. But 16 looks leaps and bounds better than 15 just from a gameplay perspective alone. Oh my god, the gameplay looks so much better. Final Fantasy 15's gameplay played itself practically. It wasn't a very, it didn't really matter your skill in that game. All you had to do was press one button and to attack, and then just skirt around all over the place. It's pretty easy to tell that Final Fantasy 16's gameplay, combat especially, is going to be leaps and bounds better than 15. I don't need to actually play it in order to tell that. It's fairly easy for anybody to. But fanboy's gonna fanboy, right? And people do bring this up to him. Like D Stone King here says, you must not know what Yoshi P has done for Final Fantasy 14, plus DMC kind of fighting. I can't wait for it. Same here, bro. Same here. And Kiss Move said, most people don't know who Yoshi P is. Not trying to hear that. And you're saying that people are ignorant. So that means my statement still stands. Of course there are ignorant people, bro. There are just going to be ignorant people that don't know. And that's their fault. That's not the game's fault that you feel this ignorant way. I'm sorry to have to say it. And like I said, no disrespect to Kiss Move. I don't have a problem with Kiss Move. This is just a bad take, bro. And then we have my homie here, Red Hood 420. He says, no, that is not the reason. If you actually did research and looked up the studio, then you would know that Creative Business Unit 3 is working on this game. A lot of people love that studio because they made A Realm Reborn and all the expansions afterward. And A A Realm Reborn is a beloved expansion to Final Fantasy XIV. They have done some great work. They have earned their stones in the gaming industry. And even, BG here says, all FF games always been a big deal though, Smooth. It's facts. That is true. Look, man, Final Fantasy's had some ups and some downs, to be fair. But this is a mainline Final Fantasy that we're talking about. Naturally, the hype is going to be there. Final Fantasy is no fucking slouch by any means. Final Fantasy is been around for 15 mainline iterations. I mean, 16 mainline iterations for a reason, because this shit is legit. And RGT85 said, Final Fantasy 15 looked like some weird boy band shit. Final Fantasy 16 looks like, well, Final Fantasy. Stop that. And OJ here also says, as someone who's covered RPG games in the past decade plus, I can assure you all mainline Final Fantasy games are hyped to the max. Final Fantasy 16 had insane amounts of hype pre-launch, and this is true. I was hyped for 15. I feel like I was hyped enough to buy day one. There's over 5 million people that also bought day one. 5 million sales in a day is definitely nothing to 5 million sales in a day at launch is nothing to slouch at. Now, if you know the history behind Final Fantasy 15, it sold like, 20,000 copies or something. It's estimated on Xbox. So maybe, if you're just listening to Xbox discussions, Kids Move, then yeah, you won't know that Final Fantasy 15 was also extremely hyped. That's why it sold 5 million the first day. So I don't really understand where you're coming from with this. Every mainline Final Fantasy does indeed have a lot of hype surrounding it. It's one of those things where it is a big deal for a reason. Now, if you're talking about a sequel to a mainline or an offline Final Fantasy, like a non-mainline Final Fantasy game, yeah, I mean, that's it depends on the situation. But mainline Final Fantasy is like, the hype is peak, bro. And so I don't really understand where he's coming from with that. But yeah, guys. The copium is real. Kiss Move is coping and seething because, well, Square Enix games don't sell well on Xbox. Square Enix has said we're not going to waste time developing games for Xbox when Xbox gamers don't buy games. And this is even before Game Pass came out. So any sales that could have come from, Xbox were probably diminished even further because Final Fantasy 15 came out before Game Pass. Didn't sell well. Sold like dog shit on Xbox. And then, Game Pass becomes a thing. So yeah, I can't really see Xbox selling many copies of Final Fantasy 16, which is why the game is not coming to Xbox. So you're going to have to play it on PS5 or wait for a PC port down the line. That's really what it boils down to, Kid Smooth. I'm sorry that you're trying to cope with the fact that this amazing game, this potential game of the generation isn't coming to your box, but that just is what it is. That's why either jump to PC or you're just going to have to play games in other places as well. This is not a new thing. This has always been the case. So deal with it. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think about this. Are you hyped for Final Fantasy 16 like I am? Bro, cannot wait. That is like, I will drop everything for Final Fantasy 16 because, man, mature rated, awesome gameplay, mainline Final Fantasy that looks so grand in scope. The music, everything about it is just, I am just so insanely hyped for the game, guys. I can't control myself, okay? Once that game comes out, everything stops for me, okay? But anyways, guys, let me know what you think about Kid Smooth's comments. If you can, like the video, share the video, consider becoming a member if you want to be involved in my growing Discord community. Awesome time over there, awesome discussions. Follow me over on Twitch, Twitter, or Kick if you want to continue the conversation. And guys, with all being said, I'm out. Peace.